You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WLCX Daily News Roundup for the Eagle 1490 AM in La Crosse.
For 1490 WLCX, I'm Jimmy Kuska. Outgoing Mayor Mitch Reynolds posted his final video update. Reynolds, who declined to run again for mayor after one term in office, presided over his final Common Council meeting last night.
Folks, it's been the greatest honor and privilege of my life to have served this community in the capacity as mayor. It's my community, my home. I'm grateful for the opportunity I've had to work with extraordinary staff to make progress and improve the lives of our residents. And I look forward to watching how La Crosse develops and prospers for everyone in the future. Thank you. Thank you all.
Reynolds will hand off to incoming Mayor Shondell Washington Spivey at next Tuesday's Common Council organizational meeting. The La Crosse Common Council approved a resolution last night that will allow American cruise lines to dock once again in La Crosse. The 10-year agreement ends a 3-year break of cruise ships being allowed to dock in the city. During that time, ships went to Winona instead. According to City Council materials presented last night, the financial impact of allowing cruise ships to dock here once again is expected to be about $20,000 each year as passengers explore the city and visit local businesses. City and county officials are in support of a legislative proposal at the state level that would encourage filmmakers to produce content in Wisconsin. The proposal would create a 25% tax credit for any television or film production done within the state's borders. The resolution also adds La Crosse to the list of places in Wisconsin in favor of creating a new film office within the state's Department of Tourism. Locally, officials believe projects could highlight the area's unique natural features and historic places. The La Crosse County Board decided this week that they won't be selling the Country Farm property, which puts relocation for Country Boom on hold. County officials will take more time to decide what to do with the 111-acre property. Multiple organizations, including the Ho-Chunk Nation and the West Salem School District, were interested in the property. The people who put together Country Boom saw the property as a potential new venue site. For now, the property won't be sold. There are several road construction projects underway in La Crosse County. A closure is in place at County Highway XX on the south end near County Highway OT. Next week, there will be closures on County Highway B Monday and Tuesday. This week, resurfacing began on Highway 16 from Highway 157 by the mall all the way down to La Crosse Street. Lanes will be reduced to one lane in each direction for the duration of the project. The Highway 16 resurfacing project will last through the summer. The chair of the Democratic Party of Wisconsin, Ben Wickler, is not seeking re-election. With more, here's Civic Media's Lisa Hale.
Chairing the party since 2019, Wickler said it's time for him to take a breath and find new ways to advance the fight in the United States for working people, freedom, and dignity. Quickly after Wickler's announcement, Devin Remaker, former executive director of the Wisconsin Democratic Party, announced his bid to fill the top spot. Party members will elect a new chair to a 2-year term at the 2025 WisDems convention in Wisconsin Dells in June.
You can read more about Wickler's decision at civicmedia.us. The Wisconsin DPI is pushing back against Trump administration requirements. With more, here's Civic Media's Savannah Tomei-Olson.
The Trump administration is telling state education departments to eliminate diversity, equity, and inclusion measures or risk losing funding. State Superintendent Jill Underly is asking for more clarification. The Department of Education said school leaders could risk losing access to Title I funding. Underly said to the Department of Education they would not be collecting signatures from school districts, saying the request breaks rules, is redundant, and intimidates school districts.
Wisconsin schools received $216 million for Title I programs this school year. Governor Tony Evers announced a series of job fairs as the state's Department of Workforce Development attempts to recruit recently fired federal workers. There are 4 more virtual events coming up on Tuesday and Wednesday. Evers said he wants to give displaced federal workers a fresh start.
The federal employees in Wisconsin that are getting bumped out of their jobs, they're doing good work. People wonder why they're being laid off to begin with or fired. And so we know they're good workers, and we have always have vacancies in state government. We want to make sure that they have a good landing place.
You can find more information on the DWD website. The closure of a UPS facility in Holmen will mean dozens of people will be laid off. According to a letter filed with the Department of Workforce Development, 42 total employees will be affected, including 18 full-time and 24 part-time workers. The facility in Holmen will be permanently closed on June 10th. UPS said that they will offer workers a job in other facilities to help reduce the job losses. Last month, UPS announced it would be closing around 200 facilities in the U.S. as it shifts to automated package hubs. U.S. Cellular is planning to lay off thousands of employees across the country, impacting workers here in Wisconsin. The company is being acquired by T-Mobile. According to a filing with state governments notifying them of the mass layoff, workers will be let go beginning June 2nd. The company plans to offer most of the affected workers similar jobs with T-Mobile. In Wisconsin, 44 locations are impacted, mostly retail stores, as well as the company's engineering hub in Brookfield. About 4,100 workers are affected nationally. Food insecurity was top of mind for State Senator Brad Pfaff and Assembly Representative Jill Billings as they visited a food pantry in La Crosse on Monday. The topic of the visit was federal cuts to food assistance programs and aid for farmers, which is having an impact locally. The Way for Food Pantry says they will only receive half of the food they normally get this month, despite having the highest food demand they've seen in the past 10 years. Over a third of La Crosse households are experiencing food insecurity, according to Wafer. A mental health crisis facility that was set to open on May 1st in La Crosse is being postponed due to federal budget cuts. According to Tellurian Behavioral Health, the Trump administration's cuts to health services has removed the funding needed to open the facility. The new facility would have given people experiencing a mental health crisis a new option for treatment. Those people will now continue to go to hospitals or jail for treatment, according to an executive at Tellurian. The current crisis facility in La Crosse, called CARE, will stay open. Western Wisconsin's largest energy provider is seeking a large rate increase for electricity. In a filing with the Public Service Commission, Xcel Energy is seeking rate increases of 11.8% in 2026 and 7.2% in 2027 for a total of just over $150 million over the next 2 years. Xcel is also proposing a 12.7% increase for natural gas next year and a 1.5% increase the year after. For the electric price increases alone, the rates add up to about 97 cents per day for an average household by 2027. The utility service moratorium comes to an end early next week. With more, here's Civic Media's Stuart J. Waddles.
The cutoff is coming. The Public Service Commission of Wisconsin is urging people to catch up on their energy bills before the winter moratorium ends. That's on April 15th. During the moratorium, utility companies can't disconnect heating services for non-payment. However, those protections are going to expire soon. Those at risk of losing service should contact We Energies to set up a payment plan or seek financial assistance through state programs.
The moratorium arrives as the federal government fired every worker from the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program last week. A utility assistance program faces an uncertain future after the federal government fired all of the workers from the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program last week. The program, which provides supports to low-income families, particularly in winter months, served tens of thousands of Wisconsin households, including over 10,000 in the Coulee region, according to federal data. The firings come as the utility disconnection moratorium ends on April 15th, and average home heating costs are expected to rise over 10 to 15% this year. The Coulee region will have comfortable weather for the next several days with highs in the upper 50s to mid-60s. On Sunday, temperatures could reach 70 degrees in some places, especially to the south and west of La Crosse, but there's also some light rain chances as well. We'll drop back down to average high temperatures in the mid-50s early next week. We'll have more details in our Civic Media forecast. Download the free Civic Media app now at civicmedia.us/app. For $14.90 WLCX, I'm Jimmy Kuska.
The Brewers head to Arizona. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. Baseball, the Brewers in Phoenix to open a 3-game weekend series against the Diamondbacks tonight. Their crew losing to the Rockies yesterday, 7-2. Colorado coming up with a 5-run rally in the 8th. But right-hander Quinn Priester, picked up in that trade with the Boston Red Sox this week, had a good outing in his debut with the Brewers, allowing just 1 run in 5 innings.
I thought I settled in later in the game nicely. You know, with all the hecticness this week, getting through those first 3, even though it was a little sloppy, thought it was a good job of just limiting the damage.
NBA, the Bucks beat the Pelicans 136-111. Now they have 2 regular season games left. Tonight in Detroit, then Sunday they host the Pistons before heading into the postseason. Then what? Doc Rivers.
Going into the playoffs healthy. We have an entire week after these 2 games to get ready for whoever our opponent is, or at least 5 days, let's say. That'll get us rest. That'll get us ready.
That's the Bucks' Doc Rivers. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. So what do you do after you show the world how you do foreplay and it goes viral? Then you're accused of bilking investors from a bad Bitcoin deal? For Haley Welch, also known as the Hawktua Girl, you do a cameo on Glenn Powell's new show on Hulu called Chad Powers. The jury is still out on whether or not she can act, but she did cooperate with authorities who investigated her Bitcoin dealio. She was cleared of any wrongdoing. There is also a documentary on the way about her quick rise to fame called Doctua. Get ready for round 2 of Haley's 15 Minutes. The Hunger Games prequel has some cast news. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping is in pre-production and set 24 years before the original Hunger Games. TheWrap.com reports that Elle Fanning has been offered the role of young Effie Trinket, the character played by Elizabeth Banks in the first 4 films. She has not officially accepted the role yet. The Hunger Games Sunrise on the Reaping will hit theaters November 20th of 2026. Here's one of Pete's picks. I just finished the show Adolescence. I thought it was absolutely outstanding. The show follows a 13-year-old boy who was accused of murdering a female classmate and how the incident affects his family and community. Stephen Graham is one of the show's creators and plays the boy's father. Without saying too much, the 4-episode miniseries is excellent start to finish, and I highly recommend it. Speaking of Adolescence, which is one of Netflix's most popular shows, there is already talk of a season 2. In addition to Graham's writing and producing the show, executive producer Brad Pitt's production company Plan B says they are interested in another season. Plan B producer Dee Dee Gardner says they are looking to widen the aperture, stay true to its DNA, and not be repetitive. I'm going to go get my Hollywood to English dictionary and look that up, but I think that sounds positive. Sure, Harvey Weinstein was the face of the Me Too movement and a total creep, but don't forget about Bugsy screenwriter James Toback, who apparently was equally as horrible. Toback, who was one of the first names mentioned in the Me Too movement, was just ordered to pay $1.7 billion to 40 victims who testified at his 7-day trial in New York. Maybe he and Harvey can be cellmates. When she's not running into a fellow skier on the slopes and being taken to court or creating products called Goop, Gwyneth Paltrow is the host of her own podcast, also called Goop. The Shakespeare in Love star was joined on the podcast by her husband since 2018, TV producer Brad Fulcher. Paltrow made a point of saying he will join her on her podcast to talk about step parenting. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
We may see a little fog right away this morning, then we're headed into a pretty nice weekend. Partly sunny today with a high in the mid to upper 50s. Tonight, partly cloudy. We're going to drop down into the low to mid 30s. Tomorrow, sunny and warmer with a high in the low to mid 60s on Sunday. A few showers with a high in the mid to upper 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable. Outside now, it's 33.
That's your WLCX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at lacrosseeagle.com. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.